This is the Draconic Evolution Fusion Crafting Injector, and today we're going to get this set up and lots of other things to progress through the Draconic Evolution chapter. Alright, I know we're all excited to get into chapter 25 here, but before we do, there's a few things we need to address. First off, in between episodes, I did come in here and do some building, and I got a lot of this astral stuff cleaned up, and as well as the bewitchment area and our Galacticraft area. Following that, I started playing around with Java arguments, and I actually managed to get our memory usage all the way down to around 6 gigs on average, and it does boost up closer to 9 or 10 gigs occasionally, but it's a lot better than the 10 to 14 gigs we were at before. And when I did that, I also came through and used the concealment key on some of our drawers so that we could have better FPS. It's going to be a little annoying to try to find certain drawers now and upgrade them, but I think for the most part we already have everything we need upgraded, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. And now for the real thing that we need to address. We need to get everything on passive for these Draconic cores because we're going to need thousands of these. And as it stands right now, we have Mystic Ingot, Galactic Ingot, Draconium, and Corrupted Light all on passive. The things that we're missing are the Plasma Core and the Solar Ingot, and for these we're needing multi-blocks. And quite a few of those in fact, and we'll also need to do some more bewitchment stuff. And I think I now have most of the items we need pinned up here. The question is where to start. It looks like a majority of the items we need are from bewitchment. So let's start there. All of this bewitchment stuff that we're going to put on passive is going to require a lot of altar power. So let's go ahead and upgrade our altar. We didn't put this on here before because it was a little complicated before, but now we have it on request. So let's request our goblet, and then we can fill this thing up in our witch's cauldron. We just need to do the recipe, and let's make sure I got this in the right order real quick. So we'll go goblet, demonic elixir, florb, dragon's blood, beat crystal. Okay, so goblet, demonic elixir, florb, dragon's blood, beat crystal. And there we go, we got our filled goblet. I know we need to keep the dragon's head on here, but I'm not sure about these other two things. So we're going to scrap these for a second. We were at 3105. That dropped us down about 1,000. Let's see what this goblet does. Oh, it made the dragon head turn on. It also took us to 8 times regeneration and increased us to 2716. So let's get our candelabra back down. That takes us up another 100. That's not too great. What about the diamond sword? Oh, that takes us up about 1,000. Quest says something about a demon heart. Does that do anything good for us? It doesn't look like it. Alright, and I believe these bewitchment statues are supposed to be pretty good at helping this thing out. So let's see how many of these we can actually make easily. We can definitely make the gold Lilith statue, and we can also definitely make the gold Hearn statue. And that'll fill out our last 2 slots on this altar. What are we at now? 4,149 power with 8 times recharge rate. I think that should be good enough. Okay, so there's a total of 6 different distillery recipes that we're going to need a passive. Okay, these are buffer issues, so we're just going to have to request maybe 3 at a time. And quite clear glass. I don't have a recipe for that yet. That's fine, we just need to add an alloy smelter and send in glass. And we'll also need to convert a few purifiers into Thaumcraft cauldrons. Said cauldron. They're called crucibles. Either way. Alright, I fixed the buffer issues and the clear glass and all the other things, so we can request our 6 of these now. And we'll also need an additional witch's cauldron. Alright, so I went ahead and copied out the little indentation on this side over to here so that we can work with our new machines on passive on this side. So we'll need a magma block below the cauldron, and then behind it we're going to need a mechanical user, and we'll give that an unending bowl, and I can't remember the exact settings. Why are we placing it on the other side of the cauldron? Activate block with item? Yeah, that's the right one. You know what, while we're here we may as well do heaven extract, cleansing balm. I believe this one comes from witch's oven. Yeah, it does. And cleansing balm, which also means we'll need ritualistic salt on passive. So let's get a second witch's cauldron. All right, and I think the way we're going to set this up is we will have precision droppers facing down, And as opposed to that side, I think I'm going to try to leave a block space. Maybe the items won't go flying that way. Then we will have our ranged collector to pick up the drops and impulse hoppers on top of these, and these will set to push down. Okay, then we're going to need to filter these for each of the recipes. So the ritualistic salt is going to need 3 salt, a ritual stone, Precantio, Alienus, and then Perdicio. And then of those items, the only one we didn't already have on passive was ritual stones. So we'll add that to this crafter here. And for our tallow recipe, we're going to need 3 magic tallow, 1 crystallos, and 1 persidium, all of which we already have on passive. Then all of those items we can just conduit in from an interface. Alright, and we're going to want to set both of our impulse hoppers on redstone high. That way we can bring out level emitters from this interface. And we don't really need too much of either of these things, so I think we'll just limit them at 64. And lastly, we'll just need to connect up a power cell for power. Something weird is happening here. For some reason, neither one of my precision droppers are dropping the items when they get them. So they're just stacking up in there and not actually doing anything. I wonder if somehow the signal from this is passing through and causing it not to activate. But that'd be weird because I feel like I've done this something very similar to this setup already. So instead, I think we'll try setting up our level emitters from the backside, and then we can just redstone conduit over to them. And yeah, that looks like it's working. And with that running, how is our altar power doing? Oh, it's not too bad. Takes us down a little bit, but once those buffers fill, it won't be activating that often. All right, now for our distilleries. We're going to set all 6 of these up just to start off with. Okay, and in our recipes, gypsum has a duplicate item and flying ointment has a duplicate item. So we're going to need to set up 2 inscribers with name presses. One of these is going to be for wood ash, and the other one's going to be for tallow. And just like our other setup, we're going to extract out of the bottom of each of these distilleries and send it back into the ME system. But instead of interfacing in from the top, we're going to limited item filter. And each section where we limited item filter is going to need to be on a different color channel. That way we can level emit the extraction without having to worry about any overlap. And I think for the time being, we'll just set all of these to 64 as well. Another issue I ran into is we didn't have Omethal Souls on passive. So I've added that to a crafter as well. And it looks to me like I've miscalculated on the number of distilleries we're going to need, which is a little bit of a pain because I was already struggling to get enough channels back here as it is. But for now, I'm just going to keep filtering the ones that we got, and we'll add more once we get finished with these. All right, I got all 6 of these filtered, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 more to do. So we're going to need to request those up. And I'm also going to have to find a way to get more channels back here. Right now I only have 3 channels available, and I'm going to need 8 to do 4 more recipes. Alright, I got the channel issue worked out, and we actually now have even a few more over here. So let's request up the rest of our distilleries. Alright, they're done. So let's get these placed in, get the filters in, and we can move on from this. Man, I hate bewitchment. Oh, well, I actually had a double recipe for flying ointment pinned up here, so I guess we only need 3 of these. Well, if that's the case, then we might as well add stone ichor to this setup as well, which means we are going to need to passive triple compressed cobblestone. That could get expensive, but I mean, each one's only 729 blocks, and we have 4.9 million and falling quickly. But once that buffer fills, it should be fine. Speaking of which, let me get a downgrade on here. All right, we got all 10 distilleries on passive, as well as the 2 witches' cauldrons. Feels so good to be done with that. And I know I've already said it this episode, but I hate bewitchment. But we're not done with bewitchment just yet. We're going to have to set up an MLF, a mob loop fabricator for it, because some of these recipes require hearts, and some of them require hoofs, and owlet's wings, and ectoplasm as well. So let's just get all of this taken care of with one machine. And that machine's actually back here in chapter 23. And there's a number of items that this needs. We can actually snag some of these celestial collector crystals. I don't think they have to be a specific size or anything. From this setup that we made in the last episode, or I guess we made it before that, but we upgraded it with these in the last episode. But now we have star metal seeds, so we don't have to worry about that. So now let's start prepping up these materials. The only thing is, since we're planning on passiving rainbow tablets as well, we're going to need Gaia spirits in one of these as well. So I guess let's prep up the materials for 2 of them. And a lot of these other ones would also be really nice to have, but I think we're just going to start with 2. Actually, no, we can't start with just 2 because we're going to want at least one of these to produce life essence. So we'll do 3, and we can also repurpose all of these will crystals. Unless this is wanting me to use... Yeah, it doesn't look like these are an output. It looks like these are an input, and I don't think we could keep up with inputting those. All right, so I just asked in the Divine Journey 2 Discord, and it will give you this will, but it needs to be in the same chunk as your will generation setup. And I'm not exactly sure how we're going to fit this into this chunk, but it is going to remove the need for these mob spawners down here, which should help with lag. And we will also never run out of will again. And there's also some other complexities as to how this thing works and how you can receive all of the item outputs. So this is probably going to be a little bit of trial and error. Oh, and your Celestial Collector Crystal has to be attuned to Lucerna. And all 3 of mine are attuned to Dissidia. Well, we might as well get this thing ready to attune to Lucerna. Oh, and it's actually out tonight. So the next question is, can I just reattune it by throwing this thing on here? Or do I need to do a new Celestial Crystal? It looks like I need to do a new Celestial Crystal. Okay. Says it can be any size and quality, so we can just use some of these ones we already got. Kind of sucks that those other ones aren't good for anything at this point, but let's get our new 3. And the rest of this stuff we can just request up fairly easily, except for these 2 things, but we'll get to those in a little bit. So let me start getting the rest of these materials together. All right, now I've gathered all the materials except for these 2. And the life essence output hatch is also pretty easy. We just need to throw some of our modular casings through our blood altar. There we go. But these demon will output hatches are not quite as easy. We're first going to have to craft a new alchemy table, and we can really just put this down anywhere as it's temporary. Then we're going to need to follow a rabbit hole of crafts. So we're first going to make 24 runestone in our Fey Crafter. Then we'll combine that with 24 wooden path and 24 double compressed cobblestone to get 12 stone brick path. We'll then combine those with 12 triple compressed cobble and 12 skystone dust to get 6 worn stone brick path. Then we'll need to craft those down in the alchemy table one more time with ruined obsidian and refined obsidian to get obsidian brick path. Then we're going to need 3 conduit probes, which we'll craft down into 3 demon will aura gauges. Then we'll throw 3 of each of our tier 1 runes into the Hellfire Forge to get binding reagents. Those will go back into the Hellfire Forge with machine casing, the demon will aura gauge, and obsidian brick path to finally get our demon will output hatch. And since I don't know where else to put it, we're going to smack this one down on the roof so that it can be in range with our will chunk. And this marks the very center. So let's get this thing built. And there you have it, our first mob loot fabricator. So in our item input, we're going to need to put a weak blood shard. And in the life essence output hatch, we're going to put an archmage blood orb. And yep, that's linked to me. That should really be all there is to it. Missing input item. Actually, this one doesn't have any item output, so let's switch this out for the fluid output. There we go, we got a little tank going. Oh, and now it's processing. Oh, and that thing's fast. We got a full thing of blood already, and it generates 8,000 each time, and it takes 20 ticks, so 2 seconds to get that. That should also mean that we no longer need these conduits here because that machine is going to fill the chunk with will. As for the life essence it produces, we're going to send that into an ender tank. Let's see, have we used red, black already? We have. That one is for life essence. What about red, black? Nope. Okay, perfect. Then we can set that up to pump back into our black hole tank. And I guess we didn't really need this here since this thing uses our blood network in order to actually power it. But it's definitely going to help us with our demon will because it is very quick to burn through these things, and we're going to need a lot of these reagents in the late game. But with that one out of the way, I'd like to figure out a way to set up these other two in this little area and have room for expansion in the future. So something like this should work. We got a 10 by 5 area on each side, so we can fit 2 on each side. And then later on, if we decide that we need to expand, we can come back this way and probably go downwards. I'd probably make a staircase going down and then do more underneath. We could also do a staircase going up, but I don't want it to kind of hit this building here. Unless we were to come out to the side over here and do it or something, but we'll figure that out when the time comes. Let's get our next two built. All right, we got them built, and I've also gone ahead and added a drawer controller with some frame drawers and connected it up to the ME system for the outputs. And now we just need to figure out our item inputs for this, as well as make us a couple extra blood orbs for these life essence output hatches. So for the bewitchment one, we're going to need to do an infusion craft. So we need a strength 4 potion, traveler's tenacity, stone ichor, a condensed desiderum, and then a gold promise acceptor in the middle. We can kick that off. It shouldn't take too long. And when that finishes it up, it's going to give us a Triskelion amulet. As for the Gaia spirit one, we're going to need shards of Laptula, and these things are stacked together. So there's 20 tiers, and each tier takes all of these items to make all the way down to tier 1. And tier 1 just uses an inner core, a grass block, and some dragon stone to make world seeds. So let's see, what do we need for this luminizer? We need sparks, and I imagine we're probably not going to have enough methane for this. 74, it's going to be close. Yeah, we're actually just barely shy because we're going to need 20 sparks, which I think would take 80. So I'm going to have to wait a little bit on that. Actually, we can just steal a few of these from our crafter for Salus Mundus. Now we got our 20 sparks, and we're going to need 40 red string to go along with that, which means we need more ender air bottles. Huh. Conveniently, we can craft these up pretty easy now. Now with that, we should be able to craft our 20 luminizers. And everything else throughout here we should already have. So let's go all the way back down to tier 1 and craft it all the way up to tier 20. Then we just need to craft down a couple of these demon blood shards back into Archmage blood orbs. Add our blood orbs into the life essence output hatch. And our input item, actually this one needs the shard of Leptua because it has a smaller output hatch. And we should now be running and getting Gaia spirits. Perfect. Oh, that's so nice to see. Let me go ahead and get the other one set up as well. Are we running? We're running, and we got 12 different output items. All right, get all 13 of these filtered into the drawers. Not 12 different output items, only 11 different ones. So we only need 13 drawers here, or 12 drawers here. We have 13, but whenever we add more of these, we can just continue filling in this wall. And now we effectively have an infinite amount of all of these items. Although I think we're going to need to max upgrade these drawers, except for maybe the Gaia Spirit, but might as well. The items are free. But all the other ones are going to need to be max upgraded and then have void upgrades so that if one of the drawers fills up, it doesn't overflow. All right, so it's been a little bit of time since the last clip, and a couple new issues have cropped up. So every now and then I come in here and increase the buffer on all of these essences because we're going to need a lot of them in the late game. And there's one thing that we're completely out of. That's ender shards. Now we were getting these from our end mob farm, but once we got enderman seeds, I shut that off. So you know what that means. It's time to build another mob loot fabricator. And while we're at it, we might as well build 2, because over here in some of these bewitchment items that we just made, not that one, we're using some V crystals. And some of the ones that we're using, we only have, 1600 for, and we're going to need thousands of these things. And conveniently enough, if we used an autocaster from Thaumic Augmentation in the MLF, we can get one of every V crystal every second. So let's get all these things pinned again, and back to requesting I go. And here we go, 2 more mob loot fabricators, and I went ahead and crafted up 6 more of these demon will outputs, just since they're so tedious to make. They're not really expensive, just tedious. But now we're getting all of the V crystals plentifully. And it looks like they're kind of splitting them weird between these since we have some extra output slots. And we're also getting our ender shards, and a bonus is shulker shells, which we use to make stellar capacitors. So now we just need to give each of these their own drawer, max upgrade them, and connect up our item conduits. With that, all of our B crystals are constantly going up, and we're getting ender shards for our magic calyx again. Although these things still aren't completely up to speed. I mean, we're stacks and stacks behind. They will eventually catch up, I hope. So now we can turn our attention back to getting the rest of the stuff for Draconic cores automated. And I think next we're going to want to do solar array panels, but these use solar array wafers, so let's go back to the start of the line. Rainbow tablets. That's the next thing we need to automate. We can do Gaia Spirit ingots relatively easily. We just need to put mystical tablets on passive, and we need to do plasma cores. So I guess the next thing is going to be another laser focus. So I guess back to requesting and crafting. Oh no. Well, it's built, but I'm sure you guys can see this. It's off by a block. So the whole thing's going to have to come down and we're going to have to move it over. All right, that's much better. Now, there's 2 recipes that I want to auto-craft in this new one. And so we're going to need 2 level emitters and 2 interfaces. From these interfaces, we're going to conduit into the input hatch, and we're going to do this on the blue channel. And basically all we're going to do with this is limited item filter into the input 1 of each recipe. So for the plasma cores, we just need 1 empty core. And then for the empowered Restonia, we're going to do 4 signalum gears, 4 redstone alloy, 4 bricks, 4 infernal bulbs, and 4 Restonia. Then once we get all those items filtered into separate interfaces, we can set up our level emitter. So this one's going to be for Restonia, and we're going to want to keep maybe, I don't know, 512 at least. And then we'll set the conduit to redstone high. So when that's on, it should put all the items into the input. It's going to craft, and then it's going to go to the output, and we'll need to extract out of there and send back into our interfaces. So now we can check plasma cores off our list of being fully passive and move on to the next thing in our list, which is going to be passive rainbow tablets. Now for this, we now have the plasma cores and we also have the rainbow slates, but we're going to have to automate these Gaia Spirit ingots. And for these, we already have Gaia Spirits and Terra Steel, so we just need the mystical tablets. And if you remember, for those, we already have an on-demand setup for mystical tablets from magical tablets. So all we're going to have to do with this is we're going to move our interface down along with our ranged collector, probably right here. And we're going to want to extract out of there with some item conduits and limited item filter in the magical tablets in here. Then we'll stock those up in the interface and add a level emitter set for mystical tablets, and we'll probably stock 16 of these. Oh, yep, we're crafting. Let's close up our hole and facade the conduit. There we go, we're all cleaned up. Then we'll add another crafter tier 3 to our wall. We're going to set this up to craft Gaia Spirit ingots and send in all the components. And we'll send those out and into a drawer limited to 1 stack. And guess what it means now that we have all this stuff automated? If you look up here at the top, we need to build another auto infusion matrix. So we'll pin all the items and start requesting. All right, I got everything crafted up except for our Essentia infusion providers. And if we take a look in here, we're missing purified tablets. And the reason for that is we're not getting enough blood in our blood network because these things are chewing through all of it. Now, down here, I believe like 90% of the tier 3 and 4 essences are fully capped out on their drawers, except for this Offensa, which is chewing up a little bit. And we can supply more than it takes for these ones. So I'm not entirely sure what the problem is. My best guess is it's this. Oh, Virtus is dropping down too. But it only does it for a second. Is that it's this Offensa. And I think if we just take this blood orb out of here for a second, we should start seeing a net positive gain. And if we don't, then it's other things causing it. Yeah, it looks like it's other things causing it. Oh, this one actually uses 20,000 LP. Hey, stop, demon chicken. So if we take this shard of Laptula out of this Gaia one real quick, Oh yeah, now we're well into the positive LP values. And it gets, as soon as it gets to like 60, 70,000, when you see it shoot down, that's it crafting purified tablets. So we'll have to put this back in here later, but for now we're going to have to keep it out. Now this buffer is starting to fill up with mystical tablets again and give us more Gaia spirits. Once these fill up, we should start backlogging on purified tablets and we can request those. Or we can just remove them from this interface for the time being until we have 4 of them, because that's all we need. Yeah, that was quick. All right, let's start this. Stock the tablets back up. And I've already taken the time to set up an area for it. We need to put together our second aim. All right, all of the pieces of the puzzle are in. So the next step is going to be to put this thing on passive. For that, we're going to have 2 different sets of inputs. So we're going to need 2 interfaces, each with their own level emitter. So the first recipe is going to be for these condensed Ignis crystals, which is going to need 8 Ignis V and 1 Salus Mundus. And the second recipe is going to be for the rainbow tablets, which needs 4 rainbow slate, 4 Gaia Spirit ingots, and 1 plasma core. We have those all filtered into here now. We'll just need to add them to the interfaces and set our level emitters. I think we'll try to always keep at least 32 rainbow tablets in stock. And we only need 1 of these Ignis crystals for each of the next recipes, so we'll probably just do like 8 of those. Let's make sure all the items are getting put in. Are we getting Ignis crystals? Not at the moment. Oh, we're not getting them because we're not extracting back out into the interface. That makes sense. There's 5 in here. All right, let's just set this extract up real quick and we should be done. Oh yeah. Now we got 9 in the system and the level emitters shut off. So we can check off rainbow tablets and condensed Ignis. And that just leaves solar ingots and solar array panels. Since these solar array panels use solar array wafers, we're going to go ahead and put all of the different types of wafers on passive. So instead of extracting out of here back into the interface, we're going to extract straight into these drawers. We also don't need these wooden crates here anymore. And the only thing left to do is to stock rainbow tablets up in these interfaces, and they should automatically be filtered in to craft all of the different wafers. Oh, and we're definitely going to want downgrades on these so we're not burning through all of our rainbow slates. If we need more than 64, we can come in here and add small upgrades as needed. Oh yeah, I forgot that these actually craft 16 at a time, so we might as well just up it to maybe 4 stacks. We definitely don't need 32 though. That's crazy. We actually have rainbow tablets on passive now. You remember how expensive these things were to make when we first made them? And now we have all of these machines full of rainbow tablets in a matter of a couple minutes. Oh, and I thought we were done building extra multi-blocks, but we're also going to want to make another ultimate compressor to passive compress 10. Well, back to requesting I go. All right, we got it set up. And I went ahead and connected up some phantom faces down here like we did with the first one. So with this one, it's actually a lot simpler than the other multi-blocks we've set up today. We need to extract out of the output into a controller slave to go to the drawer. And then we need an interface and limited item filter the input. And there we go. We got our compressed 10. And we're probably not even going to worry about limiting this drawer. Oh, and I can feel it. We're on our final stretch. We have these 2 automated now. Let's work on the photovoltaic cells. First, we're going to get a crushing factory for ender pearls, and that's going to give us ender dust. We're then going to need to send that into an alloy smelter with energized dark dust and photovoltaic composite. And that'll give us photovoltaic plates. Then we're going to need to send the inputs for 3 different crafts into this crafter tier 3. Those are going to be the photovoltaic cells, the daylight sensors, which we're going to craft into the input inventory, and simple photovoltaic cells, which we're also going to craft into the input, because I don't believe these are used for anything else. Doesn't look like it. And I guess we're also going to need some type of wood slab automated. We might as well use spruce since we have the most of that. There we go. Now our automation for photovoltaic cells is complete, and now we need to add one more recipe to this thing for the solar array panel. Oh, now we're getting somewhere. We're almost finished with this. So next up, we need to remove our old on-demand setup from this liquid crafter for solar ingots. And we're going to replace it with a similar interface level emitter setup that we've had before in all of our other setups this episode, except for that one. And I think to start off with, we're just going to limit this to 64, and we can always increase this later. But now we have solar ingots automated. And that also means that every ingredient for the Draconic core is fully on passive now. So we can make as many of these things as we want. Well, maybe not as many as we want, but it should at least get us through this chapter and most likely the rest of the quest book. One other thing I'm going to do before we get started in this chapter though, is I'm going to go through and purge some of these recipes that we already have everything for. I think that's about all of them. We got 12 recipes here, which means we freed up 12 more slots on our interfaces. There's no way that's going to last us till the end game though. We're definitely going to have to add some more interfaces for on-demand crafting. Oh, there's another one. We can get rid of the Omethal Soul, and we might as well remove the Draconic cores as well, because we might as well use a tier 3 crafter to buffer these instead, since we have all the input ingredients on passive now. And I think we'll just stick with 4 stacks, which will be 256 for now. With all that out of the way, let's see what our next steps are for this chapter. Oh, we got quite a few options here. Well, we can pick up an easy quest by encoding the recipe for the Draconic machine frame. And it doesn't look like that was really necessary at this point though, because the mob grinder we're not going to need because we already have automated nether stars. So let's work on this ultimate crafting table next. And for the most part, we already have all of this stuff on our quest except for these elite crafting table tier 3s and the tier 2s. So let's go ahead and set recipes for these. Now let's go ahead and start requesting some stuff up. We're going to need 13 16k crafting storages, 3 beam cores, 1 plasma core, and we're going to have to try to snag this when it comes in because they're being used up at the moment. Oh, I missed it. Aha, I got it now. 5 creation stations, 10 blocks of black iron, and 3 elite crafting tables. What are we missing? Crystallized mana. That should be automated over here. Oh, we don't have it set to have the highest tier in the drawer. Gotcha. Then we can just add a recipe for this. See, can we request them now? No, we're very shy on crystallized mana because we weren't buffering the highest tier. Well, I do believe this drawer has a downgrade, so we'll just remove that and we should be good. Well, I had to wait a few minutes for the mana to back up, but we can request it now. And all the items should show up in this crate, where we can come into, not the elite crafter, not yet. We can come into the advanced crafter and make the 3 elite, and then come into the elite and make the ultimate. I'm going to plop this guy right here. And actually, from looking through here, it seems that the fusion crafting core is the only thing we need to actually make in this thing right now. And that's good because soon we're going to have to upgrade it to the extreme crafting table from Avaricia. Alright, so it looks like this is where we craft the fusion crafting core. I'm assuming it's along with the fusion crafting injectors. So we need to get crystalline ingots first. How bad is this to make? Oh, that's not too bad. We can just set up a recipe for that. And we'll throw it in right here into this crate. And we need 10 of these to complete the quest. So let's see if we can order 10. Looks like we have everything. Alright, that's fairly easy craft. Okay, and we're still being blocked off by beamer presentation. And I actually think that's over here in the previous chapter. Yeah. We need the energy beam reflector and the energy beam receiver. So we can go ahead and set up recipes for the receiver and the reflector. And we're also going to need a few recipes for this magic hand mirror. We don't have that. We already have the magic mirror. We don't have the manufactory halo or the assembly halo or the crafting table on a stick. Does it have to be a treated stick? I guess it does. All right, we got all the recipes set up. So let's go ahead and request one of each. Oh yeah, now our quest is unlocked. So we need the fusion crafting core and the basic fusion crafting injectors. Time to set up even more recipes. And here's one other thing that we haven't made yet, the Wyvern energy core. So this is made with a Draconic core and crystallized redstone in the laser focus. And I do believe that we're not already making crystallized redstone. Yeah, no, we're not. We do have 12, but I think that's from rating the dimension that those are in. And I really tried to get all of our crystallizer recipes on this wall, but apparently it's harder than it seems. So we're going to expand back here again. All right. And this is pretty much all there is to this setup. I went ahead and added 3 crystallizers, and we have space to expand. But I figure anything we're going to be adding to crystallizers from here on out are going to need to be relatively quick, and these things are not. So we're going to use 3 crystallizers per recipe that we have to add in the future. So With that done, we should now be able to order this thing. And while we're waiting on that, let's check these recipes and see how many crafting injectors we're actually going to need. All right, this fission controller is actually the biggest one we need. And there's 12 inputs outside of the center input. So we're going to need to order 12 of those. Can we get these? Missing elasticity reagents and mana diamonds. Well, those are just buffer issues. So I think we're going to change mana diamonds to 1024. And the elasticity reagents here are actually really cheap now. So let's just remove this downgrade. All right. For this, we need to go ahead and craft up all of our crystal teen. Which one was it? It was the elite. Then it'll send those back out. And we should be able to make our fusion crafting core. Oh, wrong crafting table. These things are going to get me. And let's follow that up by requesting our 12 fusion crafting injectors. Now, where do we want to set this up at? I think right back here behind these multi-blocks should work. Oh yeah, a little room like this is going to be perfect. So we can get the fusion crafting core down in the middle. And then off of each of these, we're going to place 4 crafting injectors, just like that. And then in between each one of these, we can actually get a laser, a laser relay. Just like we used for our Thaumcraft setup and our crafting core setup. Then the main one that's going to need a higher priority will go on the fusion crafting core. And down here underground, we'll have our interface with the item interface below it. Place that 1 block too low. And then the laser relay below that. That way we can output through item conduit out of the fusion crafting core back into the interface and complete the craft. But this thing's also going to need a redstone signal to activate the craft, so we'll probably push this down even 1 more block. And that'll allow us to get down a redstone clock here and send the signal back up through some redstone conduits. Oh, and that's a pretty nice reward. At least at this point, those crystal teen ingots, they're not too expensive, but we have to craft them outside of our ME system. And lastly, we should just need to connect all of these up to power. So we're going to do the same way we have with our modular machines. Because if you remember, we can actually set the energy transfer rate to whatever we want. So we're just going to type in a bunch of 9s here until we get an X, and then back out 1. And it took a little bit of setup, but this should now be good to go. The only thing we might have to do is filter the extract of this conduit if it's pulling out the input items. So let's see, what do we need to do first? I guess we need to go straight into upgrading our injectors. So if we're going to upgrade all 12 of them, we're going to need 24 crystal teen, 24 wyvern, 24 draconic, and 24 draconium blocks. But we're not going to bother setting a recipe for this because this is kind of a one and done kind of craft. So all we need to do is separate them out, 2 for each. And then we're going to need to pick up one of our fusion crafting injectors and throw it into the center. Okay, yeah, and it doesn't look like it's pulling out the input items. So we should be good to just let these craft. Man, I love this animation. This is always one of my favorite parts of doing any mod pack is Draconic Evolution. Everything is just so overpowered and it all looks awesome. Oh yeah, and I was wondering why it wasn't letting me put more than 1 item in each one. And in this version, you actually have to shift right click to change it from single item mode or multiple item modes. Now for auto crafting, single item mode's probably going to be the way to go. But when I'm sitting here doing all this manually, stack mode is the way to go. Because then I can just throw all of the items in there at one time and call it a day. What the heck? My crafting injector just disappeared. I placed it up against this energy exporter, which I think was actually enough to make 8, but it just disappeared. Oh, it's in the ME system somehow. I wonder if there was some kind of desync and it pulled it out and sent it to the ME system, even though in my eyes I grabbed it. All right. Well, I got them all crafted up. We just need to pick up 6 more of these to complete the quest. All right, we got all of them upgraded. We got our quest. Let's see what's next. Let's go ahead and claim these draconic cores. Looks like either awakened draconium or dragon tokens. Well, these are going to need a dragon egg, and I don't think I have any extra. So let's spawn and kill the dragon a few more times. Wow. He just got obliterated. These dragon hearts are also useful for Draconic evolution, so killing the dragon a little extra is not going to hurt anything. But where's my dragon egg? I know I killed that guy. Oh, there it is. It just took it a minute to spawn in for some reason. Alright, I'm back at the base now, and I went ahead and killed the dragon 4 more times. So hopefully 4 dragon eggs will be enough to suffice until we get the dragon egg seeds. But we process it through the sawmill and get our slice of dragon eggs. Then we need to craft down 4 triple compressed obsidian, and we can make a dragon token. And that gives us 12 triple compressed obsidian as a reward. So might as well make 1 more, or 4 more, 3 more, however many it was. Alright, next up we need to make awakened draconium, which is changed just a little bit. I think it's normally just draconium in here, but I want to say it's normally you just get 4 per dragon heart, so it's a little bit better. We do have to process the draconium through the laser focus first. So we'll need to set up the recipe for awakened draconium for our fusion crafting injector, and then the recipe for charged draconium for our laser focus. So now if we request awakened draconium, eventually we should see the charged draconium pop up in here. We just have to wait on the process of it charging first. Oh, it's in here. Why are we not crafting? Oh, all of the draconic cores got descent to 1. Yeah, like I was saying, we need to set all of these to single item mode. Let's put this last one in here. Oh yeah, now we're crafting awakened draconium. And we actually get 10 charged draconium as a reward. That's pretty nice. Alright, what do we got next? It looks like this leads us down into packaged auto, which is pretty awesome. But we're going to hold off on that for now, and we're going to go for the awakened cores. So let's set a recipe for that. And as far as the awakened draconium goes, we'll just craft it all down and throw it in here. We should have seeds for it relatively soon. Now we're going to need 4 of these awakened cores to complete the quest. Can we request these? We sure can. Oh, and all the items got put straight in, and we're crafting. 12 crystalline ingots, I'll take that. And the first thing we're going to need to make with these is an awakened dragon token, which is going to require supremium, which we haven't made yet. That's going to be a number of recipes. So we'll set up the recipe for the awakened dragon token, and then supremium ingots are in the laser focus. Superium ingots are in the lightning craft multi-block. Intermedium ingots are in the auto infusion matrix, and my thing was being hidden. There we go. Prudentium is in the runic altar. Oh, hold on, we gotta add living rock to this. And inferium is just done as a normal craft, as well as the base essence. Now can we request an awakened dragon token? Looks like it. Claim our draconic machine frames. And the next thing this opens up for us is actually dragon egg seeds. So let's first make another tier 4 crafting seed. Then we can upgrade that to a tier 5 in the laser focus. And we'll throw that back in with 4 supremium, a dragon scale, and an awakened dragon token to get our dragon egg seeds. To go along with that, we're going to need a dragon egg crux. And there's an easier crafting recipe once we have one of these. So let's make the first one in the laser focus with this recipe. And we have 1 available farming spot here. So the dragon egg crux needs to go below. And then the seed should be able to start growing now. And is this plant interactor getting the essence? It is. And we're going to need a total of 9 of these. Every time we duplicate it, we get 2. And we need 8 dragon egg essence each. So we need 72 dragon egg essence in order to make the rest of them. All right, we got our essence, so let's grab our crux. Then this thing will go in the fusion crafting injector, and we'll need to place 8 essence around it. Pedestal tier 2 low. That is unfortunate. So let's see. Is the next quest hopefully leading us into... After the next quest, it is leading us into it. All right, I think we're just going to skip this quest for now. Because if we look in here, we actually can do all of the Draconic fusion crafting injectors already. So long as we have enough awakened draconium and dragon tokens. And we do actually have enough awakened draconium, but we don't have quite enough dragon tokens. so I guess we'll just plant this back down and use the regular non-leveled seed for now. We nearly have everything, but we're running out of mob grindium. And that's being used to make void reagents, which are sent over here to make dark cores. And the dark cores go into this alloy smelter to make the corrupted light ingots, which are needed over here to make the draconic cores. So let's see, we're being blocked off by this. And it looks like our lunar reactive dust is barely keeping up as it is. So this thing is going to need better upgrades, as well as both of these alloy smelters. But I'm going to do you one better, and we're going to dedicate an entire crafting wall to making mob grindium and demon lord, especially since these things don't have seeds, and we're going to need a lot of them. I now have all the materials to convert these into the next tier, so it's going to take 2 wyvern cores, 2 awakened cores, 2 mystic, and 2 crystal team. And now, after a few minutes of crafting, we have them all upgraded, so we can upgrade our dragon egg cruxes now as well. And now after a few more minutes of crafting, we have 9 of these, and to start off with, we're going to need to place 4 of them under these slots. That way, when we upgrade our seeds, they can actually spread. And once our seed is leveled up, we'll pick all of these back up and put them under the farm plot that we're going to be using, so that we can harvest 10, 10, 10 dragon seeds and get tons of essence. Then we just need to give it a slot on the crafter wall to make dragon egg chunks. And we can craft up as many dragon eggs as our heart desires. But that's only half of this quest. We also need to make dragon hearts, and for that we're going to set up recipes. We already have the supremium ingots from earlier, and the chunks are already being made. Ooh, that is quite the craft. Next up we're going to need to do green hearts and orange hearts. And I think that should be everything we need recipes for. Now it's probably going to take a while, but we can request up the extra 6 dragon hearts we need. Alright, well, that quest is done. And the biggest bottleneck for us was this lightning craft and fusion multi-block. And if we remember back to chapter 22 where we first made this thing, you can replace the advanced lightning cell below the structure with an RF lightning generator and increase the speed to 5 times faster. And at this point, this thing really isn't out of reach. So let's start crafting up these materials. Craft our RF lightning generator. And if we can get down in here, we need to replace this advanced lightning cell with the generator. Now, my only concern at this point is the fact that this thing may actually need more RF than we can give it with this input hatch here. But I'm not too sure, so let's just request up one and see what happens. Well, we do have enough power for it. Maybe. Oh, that was so much faster. Let's see, what's our next step? Draconic fusion injectors? We already got these, we just need to pick 9 of them up. Alright, what now? Time to kill the Chaos Guardian? I don't know if we're quite ready for that. But I mean, we do have Last Stand 2 on all of our armor, so we definitely shouldn't die as long as we have enough levels. The only thing I'm worried about is the laser gun. I don't know if this thing will be able to actually do enough damage to kill this guy. And we could go through the process of making a draconic bow, but that's going to require singularities, which would require us to get into the quantum compressor, which I mean really doesn't look too bad. But that would also require us to make all of these different upgrades for the bow. And while these also aren't too bad, they are very, very nested. But in this pack, we only have to kill him once, so we're going to give it a go. Let's charge up our jetpack first. And also I do want to make sure there's not any better laser mediums that we have access to so far. No, the only one that's better is the chaotic one. Which I mean, once we get chaos shards, chaotic cores really aren't too bad either. And we're also going to want to grab, I don't know, maybe 500-600 levels. And we can also check our astral perks and see if there's anything beneficial to us in here that's going to give us more damage. There's an 8% increase in melee and projectile damage, another one. And this will give us a 3% increase perk effect per allocated perk. And at this point we have, well, we're 84, so we'll have 84. But we can't get all the way there, but we're only 2 away. And I know that the Chaos Guardian is 10,000 blocks away in the end. So if we're going to fly 10,000 blocks, we might be able to level up enough by the time we get there to get this. That's the hope, at least. So let's fly to 10,000, 10,000. Yeah, we're almost there. We're at 95, 95. And I haven't leveled up even once. So I think that's out of the equation. But hopefully we'll still be able to do at least some decent damage. Oh, we're here. Alright, where's the Chaos Dragon at? I don't see him yet, but I think we got to take out these towers on the outside first. Which, now that I'm doing this, I'm thinking we might do enough damage, because normally these things take a while to take down. Alright, all the outside towers are down. Let's take out the inside ones. Oh, now I get my level. Oh, I'm in the middle of the fight. Okay, and good lord, he just ate through so many levels. Alright, I'm gonna fill my inventory up with experience droplets and start spamming. Yeah, those experience droplets didn't do much of anything. And this Joker's just way too fast. Come here. Let me hit you. Okay, we do some pretty good damage though. Way more damage than I was expecting from a laser gun. So if I can just get close to him, we can kill him. The problem is he's just so freaking fast. Okay, what if I... Oh, I gotta dodge these. Okay, I got a good chunk of damage right there. Good chunk of damage. Alright, so I think just waiting for him to come to me in the middle is more the move. Oh yeah, that's damage. That is damage. Let's go. Let's go. Die, dude, die. Oh, he's under half health now. Oh, he's coming back. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, man. No, don't let the crystal respawn. Why? What? Stop. Why can't I destroy it? There we go. Alright, damage, damage. Oh, I got him. Wow, this laser gun does so much damage with the astral perks. I do want to make sure I grab this dragon heart before we go get the shards. I got the dragon heart. We need to dig down into the middle now. Let's set my tool to fast. Alright, am I in the middle? Yeah, I'm in the middle. Alright. I don't know if they're going to want me to have some of this for the quests, or if they're going to be used in any crafting ingredients. But we got our chaos shards now. And I'm going to make sure to grab some more of this stuff too. Is it used for anything? It is used for some stuff. Alright. And now we got to get out of here, because this island is about to explode. Although I'm not sure it could kill us with Last Stand. Also not really sure how far away from this island I need to be away from the explosion, but I want to see it. My screen is shaking like crazy. Where's the explosion? Oh, oh, there's the explosion. How far do I need to back up? Wow, that's just obliterating the entire island. I thought it would look a little cooler though. Oh, that's obliterating everything, not just the island. Yeah, look how ridiculously far out this explosion is going. That's insane. Look at the amount of damage that just did. I don't normally stick around to watch the explosion because I'm afraid I'm going to die, but with Last Stand I wasn't worried, and I also wasn't disappointed. This is just crazy. Well, we're back at the base now, and I gotta say, I've never had such an easy Chaos Guardian fight in my life. I've done that fight a good number of times, and normally I have like the full Draconic armor the way that it's intended to be done, and it's still a struggle. But with Last Stand 2 and this laser gun plus the astral perks, not even an issue. Oh, and we get 10 awakened cores as a reward. That's awesome. So next up is the chaotic core. So let's set a recipe and request one of them. Oh, there it is. Let's grab it out. our very first chaotic core. Oh, and 8 awakened dragon tokens as a reward. Now that should have opened up the next chapter. It sure enough did. I think we're gonna save this one for the next episode. But I mean, just look at it. We got 4 chapters left and then a mystery chapter. We're getting very close to finishing out this pack, and I'm just having so much fun with it. But that's all we really got time for today. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. And if you did, make sure to drop down and leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you in the next one.